I feel like it's a canon event to, at some point in your life, have one of those friends that, like, doesn't like you having other friends. They get mad if they find out you hung out with somebody else other than them, and, like, get upset if they're not invited to every single function you're at. Literally, the rules are always one way. Like, they can have as many friends as they want and, you know, hang out with other people besides you all the time, but the second you do it, it's like the end of the world, and how dare you? How dare you hang out with somebody else? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I've never felt like left out from not being invited to something, but I have an understanding that just because I'm like friends or best friends with someone doesn't mean that I need to be invited to every single thing they do, and they're allowed to hang out with other people that aren't me. Crazy concept. But I was unfortunate enough to have one of these friends my senior year of high school, and it was actually awful because it wasn't just like the two of us were best friends and she got mad when I hung out with other people. We were in like a trio of 3 people, and essentially what would happen is she'd take turns like hanging out with us individually, like she'd just hang out with me and then just hang out with the other girl like all the time. And then randomly, you know, like on the weekends or something, all 3 of us would hang out together. But we literally were not allowed to hang out without her. Like, it was basically an unspoken rule. Even though me and the other girl were like really close. One day, the girl who hung out with us both individually was out of town. And me and my other friend were both bored. So she's like, hey, do you want to like go get a drink and go shop? And I'm like, yeah, sounds great to me. We hang out and everything. And then all of a sudden, this friend that literally is like always on her phone and always like messaging us, doesn't message us for like 3 days. She then texts us a few days after ignoring us and lets us know that she's mad at us. And we're like, what did we do? Why are you mad? And she told us she was mad because we hung out without her. You're literally not even in the state right now. Like, how do you expect me to hang out with you if you're on vacation? You're literally nowhere near us. You're like 15 hours away. She basically just said that we shouldn't make plans without her. And me and my other friend were both just like, you hang out with us individually all the time. Like, and the one time we hang out without you, it's a problem. We just kind of ignore it and move on. And we're like, it's not that big of a deal. And like a couple weeks later, the 3rd girl who I never got to hang out with texts like the group chat with all 3 of us. And she's like, oh, do you guys want to go do this? The other girl said, oh, I already have plans with my other friend. And we're like, oh, okay, that's fine. So me and girl number 3 decide we're going to go do these plans together since girl number 2 said she can't. And yet again, girl number 2 gets pissed off that she wasn't included. You were literally invited. You said you're not going because you have plans with somebody else. Notice how when you said you had plans with another friend, we didn't get mad. We said, oh, okay, sounds good. But yeah, she got mad at us again and again gave us the silent treatment for a couple days and then told us how mad she was. And, you know, since this had happened multiple times now, me and friend number 3, we're just done with it. We're like, literally, we're allowed to hang out with who we want to hang out with. You can't control our schedules. At that point, the 2 of us were kind of done with her, but like we had been friends for so long, so it was one of those situations where it's like kind of hard to like completely let go. We would still like try to invite her to stuff all the time because we just felt bad like completely cutting her off. So one day, me and girl number 3 are talking, and girl number 3 is like, oh, I kind of want to get my nails done. And I'm like, you know what, me too. So we're like, we should definitely invite girl number 2 because like I think she would probably also want to get her nails done with us. Girl number 3 texts and is like, hey, I'm wanting to get my nails done. Like, do you guys want to come with me? And girl number 2 is like, oh yeah, like I want to get my nails done too. That sounds so fun. So girl number 3 is like, okay, meet up at this nail salon at this time, blah, blah, blah. We'll all go together. Me and girl number 2 both respond and agree that that sounds like a good plan. But the time starts, you know, approaching for us to meet at the nail salon. And me and friend number 3 get there, but friend number 2 is nowhere to be seen. Start like spam texting and calling her like, hey girl, like it's gonna start getting really busy soon. Like you should try and get here quick. I'm not even exaggerating when I say I texted her at least 200 times and called her probably like 50. And so I go into Snapchat and I'm sending her chats like, hey girl, like, are you coming? Like, are you on the way? You were supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. And I see that she's active, but she's not responding to anything I sent. So when I see that, I'm like, you know, it's literally not my responsibility to make sure you get here when you committed to this. So I don't care. So I stopped texting her because that's not my fault. You're literally choosing to not respond to me. She finally texts back like 2 hours later. Our nails were literally like getting wrapped up. Like, they were putting the top coats on and, like, about to send us on our way. And she's like, okay, I'm coming now. I said, oh, our nails are actually both almost done. Like, mine will already be done by then, but I'll, like, stay here and, like, we can just sit and chit-chat while you're getting yours done. And she literally was like, oh, so you got your nails done without me? Well, yes. We all agreed to this time and you didn't show up. Like, you're acting like you weren't invited, but I have the text showing that you were. You just tried to turn it into this whole thing of, like, we didn't include her. I'm like, the funny thing is you literally were included and agreed to the plans and then didn't show up. So whose problem is that? Not mine. I can tell you that now. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, after this, me and the other girl never invited her to anything again because I'm like, I'm not going to try to make plans with you, have you agree to them, and then you not show up and try to make it seem like I am bullying you. Don't get why people act like this. Like, why are you allowed to have 7,000 friends and hang out with all of them, but none of them are allowed to have other friends? I don't know. Bye. So yesterday I was at work, literally was like about to walk out. And as I'm getting ready to leave, this couple comes in the store and is like standing by the register waiting to order. So I go up and ask them what they want. And they didn't really speak English that well, which obviously isn't a problem, but the lady looks at me and like rolls her eyes and she's like, 2 espressos. And I was like, oh, do you want like 2 shots or you want like 2 drinks? And she just was like, 2 espressos. And I was like, 2 shots or 2 drinks? So finally she gets what I'm asking and is like, 2 shots. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I was like, anything else for you? And she goes, with hot milk. And I was like, okay, so do you want like a hot latte? No, 2 shots, hot milk, separate, anything else. And then she's like, 1 other shot on the side, anything else? And she said, milk, no foam. The total was like $5, and the husband starts getting mad, being like, price? And I was like, yes, price, $5, $5. I'm sorry, I don't make the prices. And then he hands me a 20 and is like, 15 back, 15 back. I know how fucking change works. Acting like I slipped the 20 into my pocket. So then I give them their change and I start brewing the espresso. I'm not good at making coffee, by the way, so this could just be wrong. But my store isn't even a coffee shop, so unless you're like giving the milk a little bit of a which like causes the foam, the steamer will like scream and it's really, really irritating. So I was gonna fluff it a little bit. She said no foam, mind you, yelled it at me. So I was gonna give it a slight fluff so it wouldn't scream and then use a spoon to keep the foam from going in. She sees me fluff it once and starts yelling at me over the counter and is like, I said no foam! So I literally just turned around and went, I know, and had to not move the milk so she wouldn't yell at me again because God forbid I don't want the freaking steamer to be screaming in my face. So then I get the milk all foamed up or not foamed up. I get the milk heated up, hand everything out, and then they just snatch the cups and walk away. And then they come back over and slam the cup on the table and go, 2 more shots. And I was like, you can get 2 more shots if you pay for 2 more shots. And the guy just said, no, 2 more. And I said, no, pay. I just want to say as a little disclaimer, I genuinely do have very good customer service, but they were being rude to me like from the second they walked in. So I just wasn't having it. And like I said, my shift was supposed to be over. But I ring them up and I like point down at the thing and I'm like, $2. And then he ends up pulling out cash to pay me. As I'm finishing putting the shots in the cup, like as they're finishing brewing into the cup, he comes behind the counter and comes over my shoulder and starts pressing the buttons. I literally went, you're not supposed to be back here. He didn't give a fuck. He just kept fucking pressing buttons. And was like, just let the water keep running through. Let the water keep running through. He started yelling at me, saying I was putting too much in. I was like, okay, so notice that I'm not the one who even pressed the buttons. Remember when your husband came behind the counter and pressed the button and he's still literally behind the counter right now as we speak? And I handed them the cup and just like walked away, but they stayed at the counter for like another 5 minutes, but I just hid in the back and waited till they left. I was telling my friend about it when I got home, and she apparently revealed to me that apparently they're from Germany and they're here on vacation. I'm like, okay, if you're here on vacation, like I get that you're needing your coffee on vacation, but why my place of employment of all places? Because like I said, it's not a coffee shop. There is genuinely no way they look up like coffee near me and my store comes up. I get that like America when it comes to customer service is weird, so like if you're foreign, you're probably not used to having like people be like, hi, how are you? How's your day? Which is fine. I don't expect people to be like all happy and like sweet and nice to me all the time, like because it's just not that big of a deal. But you don't have to be rude to me, and you don't have to literally yell at me and like demand me random stuff. Like, just explain to me what you want and move on about your day. Don't fucking yell at me because the US doesn't do coffee the same way that you're used to. And don't come behind the counter.